Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days. I've got a few shout outs to start off with this week before we do our Raw review. Milo Ahmed, Wrestling Club on Instagram. Devil Jason's Toys. Ben Anderson. Seth Harper. And Ramondes Vids. I think that's Ramondes Vids. It might be Romandes Vids. Not 100% sure on that. Wouldn't be a shout out if I didn't ruin someone's name. All of you guys, thank you very much. Really do appreciate the support. I know a lot of you have been watching a while. And same to all of you. Really do appreciate you taking time to watch this. Certainly because this week's Raw was a bit rubbish. There was a few bits that I enjoyed and we'll get to those, but it starts off with Enzo and Big Cass. This was a flat week for Enzo. He didn't really say anything that felt new or fresh. It was a bit of a rehash, calling Jericho John Bon Jericho, which we've kind of heard before. He was talking about how he'd been chatting up Sasha Banks last week and how Jericho interfered. Truth was, Sasha actually got married the other week, so it's all just a big storyline. But anyway, he was saying he was chatting her up. Jericho interfered and he didn't appreciate it. Jericho comes out, calls him Enzo annoying, and says someone's watching his back now, and that's Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens comes out and there's a back and forth. This all leads to Jericho against Enzo in the first match. It was an okay first match. This whole segment, the first promo into the match, just felt a bit flat to me. Just didn't feel. I think the problem is that there's no real hatred between these guys. Nothing has actually happened. There's nothing. They're fighting over words. He said something, he interfered, I didn't like it, now we're going to have a match. There's no real hatred. It's not as if they've beaten up Big Cass and taken Big Cass out of the picture. And so Enzo, now he's after revenge or anything like that. It just feels a little bit, the build feels a bit weak. And these guys deserve a better program than this. I wouldn't want to see Kevin Owens used in this kind of a match, or Enzo and Big Cass. As I said, they deserve maybe something a little bit more for SummerSlam. But this is what they've got. This is what we've got. I'm not hating on it. I think the match will be a lot of fun. Kevin Owens, great talker. Jericho, great talker. Enzo, great talker. They can all work in the ring. It's going to be entertaining, but unfortunately, judging by that opening segment, it's going to also miss the mark sometimes. As we said, the match was okay. Owens interferes quite a bit. That prompts Big Cass to interfere. The match gets disqualified. Enzo gets disqualified, and Jericho wins. The match is made then. Big Cass on the mic basically saying, if you two want to get involved, then why don't we do a tag match? We'll have Jericho and Owens against Enzo, Big Cass at SummerSlam. They accept, and that was what everything was leading up to. Was that for this opening segment? And as I said, for me, it was a bit flat. Next, we have a backstage segment where a match is made between Sasha and Dana. If Sasha wins, then Dana is going to be banned from ringside at SummerSlam. If Dana wins, then she can be inserted into the match and it'll become a handicap match. It's worth mentioning that Sasha wanted the handicap match, so it's not as if, even if she lost, it's not as if it was going to be the end of the world. But I did appreciate the fact that this match, which was Sasha against Dana, was given a purpose, given a reason. Too many times in the past we've just come back from ad break and there'll be no entrances. It'll be Sasha in the ring and Dana in the ring. They have a match. Doesn't matter what happens. There's no consequence. And it becomes a bit boring. At least they're trying to get a purpose for every single match. And I like it. I'm on board with that. Next, we get Braun Strowman against Darrell Nelson. Darrell Nelson gets an entrance, which I just thought was amazing. So Darrell Nelson gets entrance music. He comes down to the ring. He gets interviewed backstage as well by Byron, which they've been doing to jobbers in the past few weeks. But Darrell doesn't really talk. Well, he doesn't talk. And the commentary team are saying, I think Darrell's just realised what he's about to face. And he comes down, it's an absolute squash. Braun Strowman absolutely destroys him. Byron talks about getting stomach cramps. Strowman makes him that nervous. And the rest of the commentary team kind of go a bit quiet and go, stomach cramps? It's like, I was sat there going, what are you on about, Byron? What are you on about? There was a few times that happened. Like, him and Corey Graves were talking about Beauty and the Beast at one point. Who's that aimed at? I know it's a very wide demographic that watches this programme, but WWE now trying to target the little girl market by talking about Beauty and the Beast. It felt really out of place. Puff Daddy was on a backstage segment, Sean Combs. He was talking about 2K because he's put all the music together for that. And it's very short. I didn't really enjoy it. He goes off with New Day to try and cheer up Big E. And that was it. This big announcement, Puff Daddy P. Diddy is going to be on Raw. It was a throwaway 2-minute segment. Next up, we get Titus against Darren Young. No entrances, which meant I knew this was going to be a screwy finish. This has got SummerSlam pre-show written all over it. Darren Young wins, rolls, cheap roll-up again, grabs the tights, 1, 2, 3. Bit of a cheating victory. And you know that's got SummerSlam written all over it. Next, we get Seth Rollins, fantastic promo, talking about how Balor means Demon King, and how Seth might call himself Rambo Apocalypse from now on to counter that. Says that Finn is disrespectful because, how dare he think he can hang with Seth. Seth's the man that slayed the beast. He didn't. He's the man that ruined the face that runs the place, talking about John Cena. He did actually. He broke his nose. It was pretty nasty. And he destroyed the Roman Empire. He didn't really do that either. No Finterference. Boom, look at that for a pun. No Finterference. I was expecting Finn to come down and get involved. He doesn't. But instead we get an amazing promo from him later in the show. Later in the show he talks about... let me find my notes on it. He talks about Finn McCall. He talks about Bounces. He talks about Balor. And he says, do you even know who Balor is? When his eyes open, the world ends. And he talks about bringing Balor, bringing the Demon King to SummerSlam. That changes a lot of stuff for me because I don't want the Demon King to lose. I want him to go on this undefeated streak. Now he's on the main roster. I know he lost to Samoa Joe as the Demon King, but he's on the main roster. We've hit reset. I want the Demon King to be undefeated for years and years and years and years and years. I want it to be a case where he only comes out for one of the big four. So even pay-per-view shows, you're not guaranteed to see the Demon King. It means that Balor can lose matches, but never as the Demon King. Because the Demon King's going to be there at SummerSlam, that means I'm firmly behind Balor winning that Universal Championship match. That's what I'm hoping for. I think WWE would be wise to have that as the headline match. I think they will probably go with Lesnar Orton as the headline match, but I think that the Universal Championship needs to be billed above the WWE match so that it feels like a big deal. They've got to do everything possible to make it feel like a big deal because they actually did it some damage later in the show. Which we'll come to in a bit. So yeah, we two great promos. Really enjoyed it. Next we had Cesaro against Sheamus. It was all right. It had a "This is awesome" chant. It wasn't. There was just some good spots. Cesaro does a brilliant slide underneath the Brogue kick, which I thought was really smart. Irish curse backbreaker. Massive drop kick from Cesaro. Gets some crazy up in the air. And drop kick Sheamus off the ring apron. A roll-up victory for Cesaro. The official was knocked down. It was a very cheap victory, and obviously it meant he was still waiting for his championship opportunity. But that's twice now that he's beaten Sheamus, and he didn't have to wait that long for his championship opportunity. Next, we get a promo building Lesnar and Orton, talking about how it's a match 15 years in the making. Fantastic OVW footage of both of them when they were in developmental. And I would love to see that be put onto the network. I'd love to watch some OVW stuff because you had like Cena, Batista, Lesnar, all that kind of class that came through, Shelton Benjamin, all came through OVW around the same time. Yeah, you know, you've got Lesnar saying, I don't give about Randy Orton. He's just not in my league. I thought this was good, and the announcement was made that Lesnar will be on Raw next week. Dudley Boys against Neville and a mystery partner turned out to be Sin Cara. Sin Cara looked like an executioner, kind of all in black. Neville looked fantastic. Bit of a beard, which really works for him. And in red attire, which really works for him because his finisher is the Red Arrow. And he did some great spots. There was a great enziguri, and it was he teased a crane kick as well. You know, like Karate Kid was ready to do the crane kick, and even Corey Graves was mentioning it. He doesn't hit it. I wish he had. It's absolutely brilliant. Neville looks bang on point at the moment. You know, it's very trendy since Nakamura came on board. Now we've got the return of Hideo, and we're seeing a lot of strong style in the CWC with Kota Ibushi. You've got Asuka as the women's NXT champion as well. Strong style, striking, kicking, is very on trend at the moment. And Neville does it so well. He's one of the best strikers they've got. His kicks in particular are very impressive. He's got a great aerial attack. He kicks like a mule. He is someone that I would give a real push to now because I think he's on point. I think he's on trend. I think he could achieve like some big support, get a big following. So I would watch Neville. Because I think he's going places. Celebration of Love next. This is probably my favourite segment. You know, really lovey-dovey, awful, just awfulness. I mean, there was cakes on stage. You knew someone was going to go through the cake at some point. They were showing pictures of their wedding. It was Lana and Rusev. Roman interferes, says that he's disappointed with Rusev, much like Lana was disappointed with Rusev on their night of their wedding, which I thought was brilliant. He also says that he can't believe that the Bulgarian Sasquatch has finally got together with his mail order bride. This was brilliant from Roman. Absolutely brilliant. I'm not going to sit here and not Roman because he gave one of the best promos he's ever given. He was funny. He made me laugh. I was entertained whilst I was watching him. You know, he was drinking alcohol. You're not meant to do that. Like, it's a bit of a no-no because they do target at a PG audience. As we said, Scooby-Doo was on the show this week. There was mentions of Beauty and the Beast, and you've got Roman Reigns in the ring just knocking back a glass of wine and you know, coming out with these sort of crude jokes. I enjoyed it. Keep doing this, Roman. This is the right path to be on. You will win people round by going down that kind of humorous promo road, and then, you know, delivering some impressive spots in the ring. With time, I think he could get somewhere. This is a good feud for Roman, and Lana ends up going in the cake. Rusev knocks him in the cake accidentally. Rusev Roman is made for SummerSlam to the surprise of nobody, but at least it came in a very good spot. 6,000 hours on the network now. If you watch 8 hours a day, it would take you 2 years to watch everything, which I thought was a really interesting fact. Sasha against Dana next. Charlotte interferes. She slaps Dana by mistake. Double knees. Sasha wins. Short match. What's happening to the women's division? It's a bit of a joke at the moment. You get one women's match and it was a squash, really. Didn't really go on for that long. So, yeah, bit concerned about what they're doing with the women at the moment, but means that Dana is banned from ringside at SummerSlam. That brilliant Balor promo was next. After that, we get a funny promo from Gallows and Anderson talking about ring post-itis. talking about, you know, how if you're kind of dragged into the ring posts, how it can affect you. They were talking about how it makes them feel a bit testy, it's driving them nuts. He's been bawling his eyes out. There was lots of cheeky references, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. They talk about giving someone else ring post-itis, and the match that follows is Gallows against Kofi Kingston. Gallows wins that, and they do try and give Kofi ring post-itis, but gets chased away by Xavier Woods. That, I think, mention as well for Demolition in this. So I think they're going to keep the belts on New Day for another 100-odd days and get them to surpass what Demolition achieved. Hasn't been mentioned before. So now they're saying WWE are actually acknowledging that Demolition are the longest reigning tag champions in the history at 470 plus days. I think New Day are on 300 and something. So could be that they keep the titles on them that little bit longer. Then we get a stupid Scooby-Doo skit, which I don't want to really focus on. It was awful. One of the worst parts of Raw this year. And I think what's more upsetting is I would actually watch that Scooby-Doo film, but this was just terrible. It didn't sell it to me at all. I don't even know really who it was aimed at, because I don't even think kids would find this entertaining. So this was really wide of the mark. And then we get to the main event. Mick Foley welcomes Daniel Bryan over onto Raw. They both apologise to each other. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek. Sorry that Randy Orton destroyed the Beast. I'm sorry that the Beast destroyed Randy Orton. You know, a little bit of cheeky rivalry. They show the clip of Daniel Bryan basically slating the Universal Championship, which I like, by the way, because you couldn't bring the World Heavyweight Championship back because that got retired and it was merged with the WWE belt. Ambrose holds those now. I know it's only one belt, but Ambrose has got them. They, for me, needed to come up with something new. And what's wrong with a Universal Championship? So anyway, Rusev isn't a fan. He comes out saying they've already got a champion. They've got the US champion, Rusev. They don't need another belt. He agrees with Daniel Bryan. But then Cesaro comes out and says, Mick, I've won my matches. You promised me a championship match. And so the match is made there and then. Cesaro against Rusev for the US title. I think there's been a title defense every week on Raw, which I've said in the past I wanted to see. I think that I think it's good. I think if you're a champion, you should defend your title. And I think this is the second week in a row Rusev has defended the US title. I think I'm right in saying that. And then obviously 3 weeks ago, Charlotte defended the women's title against Sasha, and that's how Sasha became the new women's champion, the current women's champion. This match was all right. Again, it was all right. There was a sharpshooter and a neutralizer, and Cesaro would have won, but Sheamus interfered. Basically costs Cesaro the match. This is definitely building up to a SummerSlam match. Rusev is celebrating. Out comes Roman. He hits a spear, and the show closes. All in all, it furthered storylines, but there was nothing amazing, and it was all right. It was just all right. It was an all right week. It was a bit. I just wanted something bigger to happen, to tell the truth. But hey, can't win them all. Can't be out of the park every single week. It was. Cool, I'd love to know your thoughts, if you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it, if you agree, if you disagree. I'd love to know what you think. Drop it in the comments, or you can follow me over at Twitter, Facebook at Wrestling Days UK. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, really would appreciate it if you would. And obviously if you like the video, please give it a like. Think that's everything. Really appreciate you watching, and hopefully I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.